Welcome to Primetime, everybody. I'm your host, Turner Chambers. I'm joined by my co-host, Chad and Carrie. How's it going, guys?
Great.
Going great.
We are back doing the 31 days of Primetime with the 90s and the 2000s. We have 6 movies from the 90s and the 2000s. We each picked one. Super excited to get into this. We are almost done because after this, we have the 2010s and the 2020s, and then we will be done with our 31 days. I'm super excited to get to this.
Yeah, very excited. We did 31 this time. It's about half, and we're still into November with this project too. But hey, that's how it generally works with us. It feels like hopefully we can get on a better schedule in the future. But regardless, we're still here to finish this project. We don't care the time, and we're excited to get into these 90s and 2000s movies. We'll talk about the movies, one after another. Then we'll tell you what our individual rankings of the movies are, and then we'll do an overall ranking of the three of us for this. And when we get to the end of the 31 days, so the next video, we will give you the 6 movies and the rankings for all that, plus the big overall ranking that we're going to do, which I'm very excited to see where everyone ranked everything because there's some interesting movies in here. So
Yes, there is.
Carrie, should we get to the first movie?
Yes.
All right, let's go ahead and talk about, I believe it's 1994's Kenneth Branagh's Mary Shelley's Frankenstein.
So many names.
Hunter, do you want to start with this one?
Yeah, so this is the one I just finished before hopping on here. First off, I love the film style. I think the way it's shot, the way it looks, and the way that it gives this almost Shakespearean tale to Frankenstein is really cool. I think the monster looks great. Played by Robert De Niro, which I did not realize that was a thing. So that's great. The acting is, as always, is great. I mean, Kenneth Branagh is great. Helen Bonham Carter is an incredible actress. So you've got game performers. The problem I have with this movie is the script. It's script and pacing issues because there are some things that don't tie in for me. Like, all right, and again, spoilers for a 1994 movie, but we see that Victor is creating this monster, the creation, out of and using the brain of his science teacher or his somebody who he admires as a intellect. So, and we don't have it like in the 30s movie where he accidentally uses the wrong brain or the smart brain breaks and he has to find a new one. We're pretty much seeing this as he's supposed to be intelligent right off the bat, but then we don't get the intelligent monster. Not even in this entire film. Like he gets smarter and learns words, but he's not at the intellectual level I would think someone would be at if given the brain of a scientist, if that makes sense. Well, that plus you have them trying to squish the backstory of Victor, which was in the Mary Shelley's Frankenstein, the movie from 1931, and then you have them doing Bride of Frankenstein by the end. That the movie doesn't get time to do either thing. We spend too much time with Victor, not enough time on the monster and what the dynamic could do of someone playing God. I also don't like the fact that they, which I don't know if this is part of the book or not, that they made the monster unsympathetic. I liked in the 30s one where he kills the little girl, but he does it unintentionally. He doesn't mean to, and the mob lynch coming after him. You see the duality of a monster who doesn't know better because he wasn't taught by somebody, and then also the mob going to lynch somebody that they don't understand. In this one, he murders a little boy who I believe is supposed to be
It's his
Victor's
brother.
brother. Yeah, and I'm like, that makes you just hate the monster, and I hate Victor. Like, which is a problem I have with another movie on this list is that I don't know who to root in this movie. A movie to me it has a main protagonist and a main antagonist, And this good written movies can have both of them, have their flaws, but this one just doesn't do it well for me.
Yeah, I get that. I definitely agree with you on pretty much a lot of that. I do think this is a messy movie. I like a lot of the ideas in it. It's been a long time as well for me. That well, I don't even know if you said you haven't read the book, but I read the book, but a
Mm-mm.
long time ago. It's been a while, but I do remember that in the book, the Frankenstein's monster does kind of like leave. He learns and gets smarter and becomes like this like intelligent like being. And I think
Mm-hmm.
a lot of the book is like narrated by the monster. And
Yeah.
so in the movies, he barely gets past like a third grade level. And he's just like, friend,
Mm-hmm.
we should not live, stuff like that. And here he like gets, far beyond that. I find that really interesting. I like that idea. I just think they're like two very different approaches.
Mm.
And, I don't think either approach is better or worse. I think they're just different. I do think that there is a really good movie in this movie. And I do know that Kenneth Branagh's, generally a pretty good director. I've liked some of his movies, his other movies. And I haven't seen Guillermo del Toro's Frankenstein yet, so I'm
I'm
interested.
super excited about that one.
Yeah, I'm interested to see how that differs. But I kind of like some of the ideas, like where it's the speech that Victor gives, where he's like, in this lifetime, like if we have the ability to make someone live forever, why would we not do that when
Mm-hmm.
life is like so fragile, and we don't get a lot of time. Like if we can have the ability to make people be with the ones they love forever, why not? And then him trying this when kind of been warned that it's not good, it's going to create like an abomination, that this is going to lead into something bad. It does, and everything, it ends in a horror show basically.
Mm-hmm.
But I do think you're correct. So I mean, I like a lot of the ideas in it, but I do think you're correct in that you hit in like one of the biggest weaknesses of the movie is that it doesn't really spend a lot of time developing the monster. And I
Mm-hmm.
think there's certain parts, I know there's certain parts like Carrie was kind of making fun of when he just like pops out and like steals him from the when they get to the Arctic, and he like
Mm-hmm.
kind of jumps up, steals him, and it's like a whole crazy sequence that happens. I mean, there's some cool things, but it feels like they gloss over just a lot of it. Like there's maybe too many time jumps, and just like you said, like they don't really have like it doesn't even really feel like Frankenstein's monster's that complicated of a character. Like I could
Mm-hmm.
see, him being kind of a piece of shit, like, towards the end, but like we don't really see him being not a piece of shit, and then, kind of seeing that life turns him into something bad or whatever. And
Mm-hmm.
there's really no like commentary there. I think the only person that you might root for is probably Elizabeth, but
Mm-hmm.
she has a very very tragic ending. Although it's kind of good, I guess. She kind of ends things on her own terms. Um,
That ending was so funny. She was like, "I don't want either of you."
yeah, basically, it's tragic. Funny, but in a tragic way, I guess. But yeah, there's a lot of really cool stuff in it. I also thought, some of Branagh's like directing choices were a little weird. He loved to go in like circles a lot, just have the
Yeah,
camera going
he
giant
still
circles.
does.
And I'm just like, I'm getting dizzy, Ken. But it's a movie that I just wonder, and because I know you talked about like your issues with pacing, I just wonder if it should be a shorter movie or a longer movie, because then I wonder like if they could have had more time to develop the Frankenstein's monster. But then again, they also had a lot of time that in the movie. It's not a short movie.
This movie is like over 2 hours long. You had plenty
Yeah,
of time. I think what they should have done is cut out the bright stuff at the end. It's cool,
I
but
like
you
the
could have
bright
made us.
stuff though.
I like it too, but you could have made that its own separate movie if you wanted to go
Maybe.
more of a retelling of the Bride of
You
Frankenstein,
know,
where it kind of leads from the end of this movie to the Bride of Frankenstein, where it's two movies.
I could
Then
actually
you're not rushing to the end of the Bride stuff.
I could actually see that. Yeah, that's actually a pretty good point to think about it being like 2 2-hour movies instead of like one
Hmm.
3 hour, 3.5 hour movie, because I do think it has a lot of stuff. I will say one last point, and then I'll throw it over to Carrie, is that I really liked that they had it be like in the middle of like a pandemic kind of thing.
Yeah,
Like everything was, getting pretty harsh and everything seemed pretty urgent. And so you can kind of understand why Victor was doing what he was doing and things like that a little bit more. And I don't know. I
and
thought like
speaking of that, people were always idiots apparently.
apparently, yeah. Carrie, speaking of idiots, Carrie, talk about those idiots.
Okay.
I thought you were calling Carrie an idiot. I was like, where you going
No,
with
That
this?
was the intention.
no,
Okay.
cut
Now,
that out.
I agree with what you guys have said. This movie it's way too long. It fills itself with things that I think are kind of unnecessary and frankly boring. When it could be spending time elsewhere on things that are more interesting and like you guys said, developing the monster more so that you actually feel more sympathy with him, because I do think this is more faithful to the book. If I remember correctly, oh my God, it's been so long. I can't remember if Frankenstein actually does kill a child, but I think he
I think
does.
it does.
He kills Elizabeth in the book, I think.
Oh, and that's a crazy frickin' sequence when he like rips out the
Oh
heart.
yeah,
Yeah,
that
and
was
he's
actually
holding the
pretty
heart.
cool. That was the coolest part of the movie. um,
I also
but
just I the what just the way Elizabeth looks after she's basically torn apart is just gruesome.
yeah.
Hmm.
Oof.
Yeah, there's because in the book you do still those things happen and you do still feel sympathy for the monster because like the book does a good job of you know telling things from the monster's perspective and everything and like why he would do these things and turn out this way. A lot of it has to do with he's like immediately abandoned by Frankenstein in the
Hmm.
book. And in this movie, Frankenstein spends like a ton of time with him, or at least a little bit of time with him and stuff. And like, so you lose that sympathy aspect that is so wonderful and like I think important in the book and in the original 1930s movie. And I think this movie still could have been salvageable, but yeah, like you guys said, like there's script issues here. I don't love that I know you like it, Chad, and I do think it was the visuals were cool with the bride stuff at the end, but it felt like it just felt like a different movie at that point. I don't know. It was just like didn't seem to like all flow together, I guess.
I mean, you did need, I think, some sort of like story with Elizabeth, but then they
Hmm.
decided to use her to like convert that into the bride story, which
Y-
was you know
Yeah. And then I don't know. There's like a really cool part where like Frankenstein tells Elizabeth basically like I love you, but creating conquering death is more important to me than loving you and being with you. But then after he like gets sick and stuff, she just comes back to him. I don't know. It's like, come on. And all Hunter pointed out in our chat, all the brother sister stuff.
Yeah,
I know you said you weren't going to mention it, but I'm going to mention it.
I
They did
didn't.
not
So.
have to constantly call each other brother and sister. Like they could have like because they're not by blood. It's
No.
just weird that they kept like repeating it
There was
over and
literally a
over.
line in there that said brother and sister no more, and now man and wife.
Yeah, yeah.
I wonder if that just had something to do with like that was in the book and maybe like
Maybe.
when it was written around that time, there were more stuff like that as far as like
Hmm.
Maybe.
marrying inside the family or whatever. I guess I don't
But
know.
then
I don't know if
the
that's
thing
what
is,
that was like.
it was told out at the beginning of the movie. She is not your sister, but you will treat her like your sister.
Yeah.
So that's not even like incest. Then that's just
Yeah.
someone you grew up with. Like, they could have done that and not had the opening scene where they're like, she is not your sister, but you will treat her like one.
Yeah. Anyways, weird movie. I definitely much prefer Kenneth Branagh's later work. Like Belfast, which is his movie about his like own life, like his memoir movie, is like that was my favorite movie of the year it came out. But I think in this movie he's still like I think playing with his style and everything. And I think it was a very ambitious project. I just think like not all of it, like you could see the elements there, but not all of it worked and paid off.
I do want to say, I feel like, I know Carrie just does not like this movie, but I feel like she's just not giving it the credit that I think there's a lot of like interesting stuff in there. And
Yeah.
it's well made from like certain aspects. And you can definitely see like Branagh's like style and stuff that I really like, but I do agree that it just,
By the way, also, this screenplay was co-written by Frank Darabont.
That's right. That's right, which is really
Which
interesting.
is interesting
Crazy.
because he's also somebody who came out and pretty much disowned this film right next to Kenneth Branagh.
Interesting. Okay. They didn't like the movie either that they made?
No, Frank Darabont said all the credit and all the criticism goes to Kenneth Branagh because he's like, I don't know what they did with this movie.
Maybe it was more of like a studio kind of thing.
That's what I'm thinking. I'm thinking studio got involved and tried to mesh everything together.
Because I know generally, like when you have filmmakers who try to disown their own movies, a lot of the times it's because there's too much studio interference, and they're just like, never mind.
This was also written by two people, and having 2 or 3 people in the writers' room is not a good idea.
Well, that's not always true. It just depends on, I mean, Radio Silence is a team of like 5 people that write together, and they write pretty good movies generally, I think.
Yeah.
So it depends on the team.
I think just because someone now disowns the movie, though, doesn't like. I know Frank Darabont says like, okay, I gave the script and whatever they did with it is weird, and I don't approve of it. But I mean, Kenneth Branagh can disapprove of it and still have had like a massive influence on what happened with it, and he now looking back, he regrets what he did because we are going to talk about another movie where that happened in the slate of movies.
So he also said that which I brought up the quote right here just to make sure I don't misquote anybody. Frank Darabont, who did a second draft, called the film the best script I've ever wrote and the worst movie I've ever seen.
Wow. I want to read the script, and I want like maybe someone could take that script and like try to redo it, like,
or maybe the best parts of the script is what Guillermo del Toro did.
Maybe. He also said that the material was subtle. Shelley's book was way out there in a lot of ways, but it also was very subtle. I don't know why it had to be this operatic attempt at filmmaking. So I guess what he's saying is that the movie was, as we were saying, trying to gamble or do too much and sometimes went over the top with a book that's supposed to be about a subtle message.
Yeah, I think we might be kind of on the money that like the movie doesn't work as a whole, but like there's some writing in there.
There's elements in there that work.
That do work and that kind of show through, but maybe just some meddling or some disagreements over things that just didn't mesh out. And then, of course, you have 2 writers like bickering over who was more involved, kind of a deal, which is really funny because both of those writers would go on to make like great movies. And, I would say maybe one of the best films ever made in The Shawshank Redemption. So,
yep.
There you go. But I guess we can move on to the next movie. No, we're gonna skip that one because no one really likes it. Psych. Someone loves it. Urban Legend.
I do. Yeah.
So Hunter loves this movie, and that's why we had to watch it again, and that's why it's also in our intro.
It is
because it's Hunter watched this movie a few years ago and just decided that he loves it. And I was like, it's such a random movie, but it's very like Kevin Kevin Williamson, like, I guess. So I don't love this movie. I think it's interesting. I like the concept. I think it's kind of like very similar to like Frankenstein, where it's like I like the concept. I like some of the execution and the ideas behind it, but I just don't love how it all comes together. The opening scene is kind of funny. The Brad Dourif, check the
There's
trunk.
someone in the back seat.
Yep. And that whole thing is just really crazy and campy, and just think like there's some good stuff that happens there towards the end. There's also some like stuff that I remember Carrie was like that no certain like things that didn't really make sense that were kind of funny with like the one lady that works at the school. Yeah, now
Yes.
you remember. Okay. And
The
then
security guard.
yeah. And then
Yeah.
I think it was a secret. Yep. And I mean,
just to remind me to go on my little tangent about
I'm so excited.
but there's some cool scenes in it. I love that Robert Englund is a big part in it. I like the Pop Rocks and Coke thing that they do, which is kind of funny, which is not true, of course. I've done it before, and it doesn't work. It doesn't kill you or whatever.
That got dark. Chat was like, if I'm going out the sweet way.
No, I mean, I wasn't trying to end it. I was just saying.
We may have to cut that joke. That got dark.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know what else to say. I mean, it's just a lot of urban legends and people kind of reenacting them, and there's some deaths, and I just where it's kind of like you have Scream that's like kind of like a cohesive all around story. I don't think anything in this movie works on like that same level to where this kind of feels like maybe it's more of like a Scream wannabe kind of movie. I also think I got like some like Happy Death Day like hints in that, even though that came out later. I'm like, I could see like other movies doing this kind of thing in like better ways. And yeah, it just doesn't really work for me as a whole. And I also don't enjoy watching it as a whole, even if I do like certain parts in the movie and certain sequences and stuff. I also feel like many of the characters are annoying. I think actually the only like characters that I like is the main protagonist. Oh, the woman from Long Legs,
Alicia
Witt, and Jared Leto. Surprisingly, he doesn't have a great reputation now, but I think those are the two characters I like in the movie, and the rest of the characters not so much. But yeah, at least you have those two characters. Carrie, go ahead.
Okay. I actually think this movie is really fun. I think it's like not my favorite. I don't love it as much as Hunter does, but I do think this is a very fun movie.
We're having a good time watching it.
Yeah, it's a good time. It's like fun little urban legends. Like, the story's decent, the pacing's good, the like action and the horror is really fun. Like just hearing the urban legends is really fun. Like the twist is good, I think. Yeah, but like Chad was talking about, I got so annoyed because towards the end of this movie, it's the big climax, and the security guard who plays, she's in Supernatural. I don't remember the actress's name though.
Loretta Devine.
Yes, Loretta Devine. She gets shot, right? And it's like a bad shot. It's like in her stomach. It's she could bleed out. She's actively bleeding. She's shot. The two college students, Jared Leto and Alicia Witt, literally just there's a scene where she's alive. They're just looking down at her. No one's trying to put pressure on her wound or anything. Like, and then they cut to the next scene. It's in the car, and they're like, "Do you think she'll be okay until the ambulance?" Like, no, she's in a fucking abandoned building, bleeding out. What are you talking about? Like, I'm just like, you couldn't have just written them. You could have just written that scene to them to have helped her and then got in the car after the ambulance got there. But still a very fun movie. Besides that little pet
I
peeve.
love your tangent. That was hilarious. I didn't think about that. They really do just leave her.
Yeah. Anyways, Hunter, tell us why you love this movie.
This is a movie that I'm somebody who loves like really campy 90s horror movies, and that's what Urban Legend is to me. It gives me the camp I love, the obnoxious characters that I actually love to hate. Like Michael Rosenbaum's character's an asshole, but my god, do I not laugh at a lot of lines he says in this movie. It's also, I think, actually pretty decently acted. Alicia Witt, I think, is really good. Jared Leto is surprisingly really good. Joshua Jackson is hilarious, which he was also in Scream 2 that came out this same year as well. I've always been into the idea of urban legends. Like I just like stuff that gets passed down from generation to generation. You can make slight changes to it to kind of fit the modern era. And I think this movie does that really well. It harkens back on a lot of the classic tales, like the killer in the upstairs bedroom. You know, it's coming from the house, which a la When a Stranger Calls, or you have the Hook Man on Love Lane, or the Hook Man of Lover's Lane, things like that. Which I think that's a really good sequence where Joshua Jackson's just hanging from the rope and he's trying to get the traction with his
Mhm.
foot on the car, but he just can't get it. I also love how they take each of those urban legends and creates a death scene around it. Michael Rosenbaum's character's death is hilarious, but it's also gruesome and terrifying with the pop rocks and soda being replaced with the is it Drano with the funnel and the Drano down the throat. I did not like the dog death. I think you did not have to do that.
Over it.
I don't know. I find this movie so entertaining to watch and so fun to watch that I can just put it on whenever I want. It's like a cozy, like if it's raining outside on a day off, I'll put it on and just watch it because it's fun. It's a fun movie that I can not take too seriously, not really have to pay attention, but just kind of love the environment I'm in.
Yeah, we all have those movies. I love to watch every year. Hubie Halloween, which a lot of
Mhm.
people will, be like, "You like that movie?" It's like, yeah, it's it's so funny. So yeah, we all have those kinds of movies. Anyways, we can move on to a less fun movie, a more depressing movie. If you like this movie, then you're welcome. And if you didn't, or you did but were still sad by it, then I'm sorry. Beloved. It's a
Yep.
Jonathan Demme movie. That's interesting.
This movie, it's based on a book by Toni Morrison that I am like devastated that I have not read. And I thought about trying to at least start it before we recorded this, but I was like, I really just don't have time right now. But I really want to read the book because this was a movie. I knew it was based on the book and I watched it and I was like, I bet the book is like you can tell it's like the book is probably adds just so much more to the story
Yeah.
that they
Mhm.
couldn't convey through film really or just weren't able to in this adaptation. Um, but I like this is a very hard watch. It deals with a lot of extremely difficult issues and like a dog dies and babies die. It's really rough, but it and you know there's assault and things like that. But it really deals with like the horrors of slavery and the trauma after slavery and like dealing with that trauma and not dealing with that trauma. I don't know. There's so many things about I thought this was just like an incredible story, a very important story. Obviously like very difficult to watch, but I don't know. I thought the way it was filmed and acted was just really incredible. And just the way the themes were like conveyed through film. And I know like a lot of people who have read the book I was reading like were a little disappointed in this adaptation because it doesn't fully capture everything from the book. Um, but I do think it did a really great job. Just as someone who hasn't read the book, I think it did a really great job and like dealing with all of these issues. I'm trying to think what else I wanted to say. I feel like I have so much to say, like, but it's
We could
hard
all
to say it. But
we could have Hunter and I go and then circle back on you.
yeah, I guess the other thing, just because I did mention it earlier, apparently Oprah Winfrey like regretted, this is her big career regret, is Beloved. She was a co-producer on this movie, and she pushed this movie forward, and she said she like wished, because this bombed. This was a big bomb at the box office.
Yeah, I had really never heard of it before, and then when I was looking up like movies like from the 90s, I saw like a picture of it. I was like, "What is this?" And so yeah, I'd never heard of it before. So it makes sense that it bombed. Yeah.
Yeah, and Oprah was like, "Oh, I wish we had made it like more conventional and more mainstream," which I think would have been such a complete mistake. Like, I think this movie, like, it's so brilliant because it's so unusual and everyone is totally leaning into it. Like, oh, I'm not gonna pronounce her name right. Sandy Newton, who plays Beloved. I know that. How do you pronounce it, Chad?
Tandy, I think.
Tandy Newton, who plays Beloved, she goes all out, and I mean, it's an incredible performance. And like, I think if you looked at it and from an, like, if you weren't watching the movie, you'd be like, what the fuck is this? But in the context of the movie, it's like such a strong performance that she like dedicated herself to it. And I think the acting of all, there's like 5 principal actors in this movie, and they are all like incredible. I think Oprah is incredible in this. I think Danny Glover is incredible. What's her name who plays the daughter, Denver?
You should have been prepared.
I should have. I did prepare, but then I forgot everyone's names because I'm Kimberly Elise.
Kimberly Elise, yes.
Especially in like the last, like the third act of this movie, I think she is just absolutely phenomenal when she's like, as she needs help and she has to ask for it, and she's just trying to hold it together, and she's still a child, and anyways, but then at the end she's like grown into this confident young woman. Anyways, I thought this was a really, like, overall hard to watch but extremely important. I think the way it deals with and examines trauma and the trauma from slavery is just like phenomenal. And obviously, like, as a white person, I'll never like fully get all of this stuff and everything, but like, just to see it is just like, I don't know. I think it was just a really important story, and I think it was like really well adapted.
I did have a question for you. Speaking of that, actually, because this is just something that I've thought about, and I just wasn't sure like what you guys would have thought. But like, Jonathan Demme directing it as a white man directing the story. Do you think? I mean, I guess it's because it's like a '90s movie, and they weren't giving like a lot of like, I guess, black directors, movies like this to direct.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, I think this was Oprah's passion project, and I think she was apparently given a lot of freedom to make this, but I'm sure that came with some limitations, which may have, I haven't researched enough about how Jonathan Demme was selected as director. I think it would be great to see this movie done from the perspective of a black director. Mm-hmm. I think Jonathan Demme still did a fantastic job, but obviously, like,
I just had a brilliant, like, what about seeing like Jordan Peele's Beloved?
Yeah, or like a female black director. Like, I don't know. I think
like a Nia DaCosta.
DaCosta, yeah.
I think that
she did great with that Candyman remake.
Yeah, I think that could definitely bring like a new element to this, and like maybe the things that people who read the book felt like were missing from this movie, maybe those could be, adapted in a different version, like a little better or something. It's hard for me to say because I haven't personally read the book, but yeah, I mean, I think I still like the way Jonathan Demme did a lot of things in this movie. Like, the lighting is incredible. The way the house looks visually during the times when the like spirit is haunting the house is like lit very darkly, and then in time when times are good and beloved is there and everyone's like happy, the house is really like brightly lit. The way it's like the ratio of it and the close-ups I think are phenomenal. I don't know,
Mm.
like the close-ups are just like so fancy. You're getting in everyone's face and you're really, I feel like, I don't know, like just getting their emotions and you feel like you're kind of there for a few minutes. Like,
That's a Demi staple. If you notice, he also does that in Silence of the Lambs, where
yeah,
he fixates the camera, which I really like. He fixates the camera on one person, and it's like the character and the actor are speaking to the audience
yeah,
through the lens, not at the audience.
exactly. And it's putting you in the perspective of the person like being spoken to.
Exactly.
Like it's,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah.
And I also was kind of wondering if, like, because were wondering about maybe how Jonathan Demme got it, and I think about maybe like at the time, like it was coming to the end of the '90s, but like he began the '90s with making like one of the best movies ever that like won like all the awards, and it happened to
Mm-hmm.
be like a big feminist movie, and I feel like that's what Beloved is, right? So
Yeah.
Wasn't it also he also did Philadelphia right before this, correct?
yeah,
That's 96. So that was also a movie about a minority and things like that. Especially as a gay person in the 90s, it really spoke into that. So I think Demi was actually the not the best person, because I still think a person of color should have been behind the camera for a movie about this. But I think if you're going to go with any other director of the 90s, I think Demi was a really, really great choice, because he seemed to understand and done his research on this time and these time periods and these people that the story seemed to be based on.
I think that's important. It's like we were talking about with where our problems with like Dress to Kill and stuff like that, where it's like if you're not gonna be like a person who like completely understands because it's like you have lived experience of the subject, then at least you do the research, you listen to consultants or other people around you, you have other voices behind the camera. Like Carrie was saying, Oprah Winfrey was such a big, part of this production that, she could have worked side by side with Jonathan Demme, making
Mm-hmm.
sure that he got like all the things right and he wasn't like, putting any misconceptions in there and things like that. Or, if you have like people who are just like studying the historical time and you're making sure that there's no, I don't want to say whitewashing, but just like any like,
That's what it is. That if done by a director who wasn't doing the research, this movie could have been seen as whitewashing what really happened during that
and
time.
yeah, and that's why I think like I don't I don't necessarily think like the color of the person making the movie
Mm-hmm.
like matters like 100%. I think that you could probably get maybe a more authentic approach if you have someone who relates to the experience a little bit more. But I feel like if it is someone who's giving like the time and respect and research and you know everything to it, I think that anyone can make any movie. But
Mm-hmm.
it would be interesting to see a black director come in and make this. But Hunter, what did you feel about? How did you feel about the movie overall?
I agree a lot of what Carrie said. I think the movie itself is tightly written, but I think the movie has a lot of stretches that nothing really happens. And I think that's one of the loose threads around maybe why I couldn't connect a lot with this movie. But also, kind of like with Mary Shelley's Frankenstein, like I guess you could see Denver as maybe the main protagonist of the film, but they don't do a lot to tell you that throughout the movie. That makes sense, because like Oprah's character, I think could have been great, and I don't know if this is directly from the book. It probably is. I don't like rooting for people who murder children, and I also understand that there's a reason why in that aspect. I also don't think you should show it on camera. I think that also makes it really hard for me to digest. Of like, you do it right towards the end of the film, and I was starting to like that character, and now you're doing something where there's multiple villains in a way in this movie that just kind of makes it depressing to watch. Like, I think the movie is well done. I think the pacing is probably one of the minor issues I have with it. The acting is great. I love Danny Glover in this movie. I think he's fantastic. Oprah is always great, and the side characters are great as well. I have an issue with them showing the child's death on screen because it makes it in that timeline realistic. If that makes sense, because we're living through that moment.
So, I mean, I think I'm like a little bit in the
Mm,
middle of both of you.
mm,
Carrie's like a really on a high with it, and I think Hunter had some more issues, but also respected it. And
mm,
I'm kind of in the middle where I also have issues, but they're different. I understand, yeah, definitely where Hunter's coming from because I had some similar feelings toward it, but like not in the same way. Where it's
mm.
like I wasn't sitting there like, who am I supposed to root for and stuff like that. It was more so like this is depressing and
Yeah.
slavery is depressing, and this is
Mm,
like it's showing you what people may have been forced to, not forced to, but people may have felt like, you know,
yeah.
my kid is better off not being here and being in heaven, if someone, thinks that, heaven is
Hmm.
real, than in the hands of someone who's going to sell them and view them as
Yeah.
property and just use them and stuff like that. And there's also like, you know mental health issues that come with that. I
Hmm.
mean, you see in the story a lot of people hated Sethi for doing that and just think that she's just a monster. And of course, I had similar thoughts like, how could you do that to your own child, like even still? But then again, that goes to the same thing as what Carrie was saying, that we'll never understand. We've never been in that
Hmm.
situation before. So it's
Exactly.
hard to even like put yourself in those shoes of that impossible situation, and seeing if you would ever come to that. And I could never even imagine harming my son. And it just it's just yeah, and it's really depressing just to see that on screen, like Hunter was saying. And it's rough, but it's a part of the story. And like Carrie was saying too, I kind of agree that like I think it would be really interesting to read the book, because I think
Hmm.
this might be like a really good story on paper too. And that maybe some of the visual stuff, like the directing, I thought was great.
Hmm.
Some of the visual stuff didn't work. My biggest problem was Beloved, because it's one of those things where I think Tandy's performance in the movie was
Um,
good. I'm sorry,
can I just jump in? It's she used to pronounce it that way, but
Tandy.
she pronounces it Tandy Way Newton.
All right, Tandaway Newton. I think she was good from like what they wanted, but for me watching it, it was a lot. It was just a lot. Like I could see you saying like, was she committed? It was like a Daniel Day-Lewis style, like my left foot. Like she went there. She like they were like, be a child, and she went, got it. I'm gonna be the most child you can. And I understand, because it's like, well, I want to say also with the story, I loved how they had this like tragic story, and this child basically like coming back from the dead in a way through like mystical means, almost to like haunt her mother and haunt the house and stuff. I do think that's kind of like a really interesting and brilliant kind of concept. But like, yeah, in practice, it just like it was grating on my nerves a lot. And I don't even know if maybe that was the point of it. But for me, I'm just like, I just found it really hard to watch in a lot of those sections, because it is a long movie and there's a lot of watching her eat, her just yelling for long periods of time. And because of that, I was just like, holy, like this, maybe cut out some of this. But honestly, maybe somebody else watches it and sees that a lot of that is necessary. I don't know. But for
Mm,
me, that was like my biggest problem with the movie. But I also have like auditory issues that really affect me. So I had
I will say
big problems with that stuff.
the fact that you brought that up also makes the scene with Danny Glover in the bedroom really, really awkward.
Yeah.
Because I think they even said the spirit is technically the same mindset as when she was a child.
Hmm.
And I don't like that they added that. Maybe it's from the book. I don't know, but that just makes me uncomfortable as well.
Yeah.
In more of a grossed out way.
I haven't really thought about that as much, other than from like the perspective of like sexual assault against men, which I think is
Mhm.
not as much of a topic that people talk about. That I
That
think
as well, yes.
is very important because you know it happens. So, anyways, Carrie, did you have anything else to add for the movie? I do
Yeah,
think it's worth a watch. It's just
Mhm.
really long, but I don't think I think the pacing might be off a little bit, but I do think it's watchable. I mean, Carrie really loved it, so
yeah, I'll say just to like Hunter's point, with Sete's character, like you're supposed like the movie's supposed to make you feel uncomfortable that you
Mhm.
have rooted for her this whole time, I think. Because and it's purposefully told that way. Right? Like you don't know from the beginning what she did or what happened. You know that
Mhm.
everyone hates her in the town, and you don't know why. And like that reveal and everything, it's like it's meant to make you feel so conflicted about
yeah.
Mhm.
her and what she did, and like deal with the difficult feelings that sometimes good people can do really horrible things or be so mentally ill. They can be good people, but they can be so mentally ill that they do horrible things or be
Mhm.
so traumatized. And I think it like the movie showed like everyone hates her, and when Danny Glover's character finds out, he is not able to deal with it and he leaves for
Mhm.
a period of time. And like it's not until like at the end when Denver starts to get help and the community starts to actually try to help Sete that beloved like disappears and is
Mhm.
gone. Sete is able to maybe start to try to address the trauma that she's experienced and the things that she's done. It's like, and I don't like you can view the ghost or the poltergeist and beloved herself. Is she actually, and is that ghost actually the daughter, or is it like a manifestation of the daughter or a manifestation of
Her
um
trauma.
yeah, exactly.
Okay. I,
So,
I I will say I agree with everything you said. I didn't really put it into perspective like that. I will say them having Danny Glover's character say the line, there are always other options. I think is a great line, but also one that kind of makes me conflicted as well because I was like, maybe he's right. Maybe there was other options than taking a saw to your children. I like it's weird. I don't know how to feel, and
I mean,
that's kind of where I'm conflicted.
this is also based on a even the book is based on a true story.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And
it's difficult.
I think that goes to show just how interesting things you can make, even like a true story, when you add
Mhm.
like a mystical, supernatural level, like kind of thing that you can create like interesting metaphors and stuff.
Yeah.
So I'm glad we watched this one because I do think it was effective in a lot of ways, and
Yeah.
maybe a movie.
Again, I don't hate the movie. I think the movie itself is great. I just have just uncomfortable feelings about some of the points in the film.
And maybe the movie is just like in a lot of ways just very underseen and stuff. So hopefully we can bring attention to it because I think it's good. Anyways,
One more
uh,
thing, sorry, one more thing. I will say this film makes me uncomfortable the same way Bring Her Back makes me feel uncomfortable.
and you
The
like that movie?
storyline, the storyline is great. I do not need to watch it again.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And Carrie and I have sort of avoided watching that movie for a while, but we'll probably
That's fair.
get to it at some point because I've heard so many good things about it. But anyways, and we should watch it probably for the show. But we've talked a lot about Beloved, so I don't know if we'll talk as much about this one. But let's see. Resident Evil, 2002. We initially had Scream 3 on there, and then we were like, do we really want to talk about like Scream a lot again? When maybe we can throw something on there that we haven't seen or just haven't talked about in a while. And so Carrie picked Resident Evil. Hunter. Oh, and I forgot. So Carrie and I had a bet. We threw on Resident Evil, and we were like, this movie. And we were sitting there talking. I was like, you know what? I think Hunter's gonna like this movie. I don't think it's very good, and we're kind of like messing with it or like laughing at it a little bit. And then I was like, I think Hunter's gonna enjoy this movie because it's like video games, it's nonstop action, and it's also got a lot of the the hard rock metal type music to it. And he's gonna be like, hell yeah, I had so much fun with this movie. It was so fun. And then Carrie was like, no, I don't think he's going to like it. So, Hunter, why don't you start with Resident Evil?
I'm kind of in the middle. I did have fun with it, but this movie is so stupid. It's Paul W.S. Anderson who did Mortal Kombat, correct? The first one, which I love that movie. I think that movie is perfect cheesy camp in all the perfect ways. This is cheesy camp in the I don't want to watch this again movie.
Okay, so Carrie won.
Yeah, it's the great ideas mid execution. The acting, it's an action movie. There's no acting there. I think Michelle Rodriguez plays the exact same character in everything. I mean, she is and will always be Letty from Fast and Furious.
Yeah.
And she just plays that same character just in different projects. Mila Jovovich is actually probably the best actor in this movie.
Yeah, she's good.
And she's good. She's the best actor in this whole movie. I hate the way this movie was shot.
Yeah.
That frantic early 2000s like flash cam type thing. I don't like that. That makes my head just spin. I'm like, why? Can we focus on just the action, please? We don't need 40 rotations around the facility. Just show me what's going on. The CGI is awful. The demon dogs or whatever were so bad. So dumbly bad. But as much as I don't like this film, there are some cool moments. There are some cool action scenes, but I just wish we could have seen the action scenes because they're nonstop, start and start, like jumpy pace that I just don't like in these type of films.
Yeah, I mean, not too much I can add to it. The only I hadn't seen this before, and the only thing that I remember is just seeing like clips from it and like maybe scenes from when other people were watching it around me. So like I just remember like the one dude getting chopped up by all the lasers. I think this movie is just too video game,
which is funny because this is not an adaptation of the video games at all.
I think that like they just want it to be feel like a video game though. And because of that, it's almost like, we have to get to the boss. We have to get through these levels. And
it feels like Doom from 2003.
Yeah, but they don't want to. It's kind of like, a video game that's just there to be played. And there's not like a story to go with it. Like where you have like, especially like nowadays, you have like brilliant video games that are so fun to play, but have like, cinematic stories and stuff with them, like God of War. It's just a matter of time before they make the God of War movie.
They're making a series for Prime Video.
See, there you go. They already got something because it's so cinematic. It'd be so simple to kind of make that. I mean, do the same thing that they did with The Last of Us. You don't
Last
even
of Us, yeah.
you don't have to work that hard. You just copy and paste all of the scenes from the game into a show, and there you go. It's a hit on HBO or Amazon Prime, kind of a thing. But yeah, this one is just one of those games that doesn't have a lot of story to it. It's just meant to be a bunch of flashes of stuff, like Hunter was talking about, and they couldn't even really write like interesting characters and have people act them super well. Not that the actors are bad. I actually quite like Michelle Rodriguez and things. Especially, I think she is great in the Fast and Furious franchise.
Mm-hmm.
But Mila Jovovich is good, but it's just like there's not a lot of material there to work with, and it's just really not that enjoyable of a watch even. And I don't think it takes a while, I think, for the zombies to even show up. And then when that happens, there's just really nothing to write home about, especially when it's like it comes out like the same year that 28 Days Later comes out, and you like compare the two, and then you're like, well, okay, it's like no comparison there. And I don't know. Yeah, it's just really not that interesting. I don't really have a desire to go through and watch the sequels because sometimes you have like at least like with like the Final Destination kind of a deal. You have a movie that might not be the best of movies of all time, but
The Final Destination is awful, but
of course, but at least you have like that first movie that gets you to go like, oh, maybe the sequels will be kind of fun too.
And then the sequel is even better than the original.
Yeah, and
It
then
has that trajectory.
With here, Resident Evil just doesn't really make me interested. I don't know how. It's just IP. It's just we have the IP. We can just go ahead and keep making these, and people like the games will go see them regardless. It's kind of like the Transformers effect. Like, we'll keep making these, and people will keep going seeing them because of the IP, and it doesn't matter if they're good or not.
That's a good point. Resident Evil was the original Michael Bay Transformers. Don't forget.
Right. Carrie, what did you think about this one?
Yeah, I mean, this was a bad movie. Like you guys said, there were some things that you're like, oh, that could have been cool. Like Mila Jovovich, like she is like pretty good in this movie, and she's definitely, I think, the best part of this movie. Yeah, there was like a part where like literally they're explaining the levels to the hive and like what they have to do to get to the bottom, and like Chad is like, oh my god, they didn't even try to make this like different from a video game, did they?
No.
Like, and the thing that bothered me the most about this movie is that like literally like I could deal with bad effects. I could deal with a little bit of bad acting and stuff. Like, because Mila Jovovich is cool. I think like the main characters are actually like pretty decent actors and everything. It's just like the plot made absolutely completely zero sense, and they did not try to explain it at all in any way that was like even somewhat logical. Like I still don't understand like really why the virus was broken, why everyone who was why they were like, I don't know. I know they were trying to get into the hive to turn off the computer because they thought the supercomputer was killing everyone. But like also this is what I said to Chad. I was like, it's a supercomputer. Couldn't it have just sent an email to someone like, hey, I had to kill everyone because a zombie virus broke out? Like, why did anyone have to go into the hive at all? I don't know. It made no sense. Like the movie, so much of it made zero sense. And that was where I was just like, and you're not even trying to tell me like what's going on. You're just like you're saying random shit and like hoping it looks cool enough. And like it's a little infuriating. So, but yeah.
I agree with all that. Yeah.
All right. I guess we just move on.
Talk about a 180 from beloved to Resident Evil.
Let's move on. An important movie to not so important. And then now a movie that I've always wanted to watch and been kind of fascinated to learn about and see. And I finally got to see it. What Lies Beneath. Zemeckis, Robert Zemeckis.
Yep,
I was
Robert
like,
Zemeckis.
I was trying to. It's probably right
You're
there.
like Back to the Future. Back
Yeah.
to the Future.
Yeah. So this movie is a movie that I really didn't know much about. I had thought it was somewhat supernatural, something to do with ghosts, and I knew who was in it. Basically, I knew Harrison Ford was in it. Couldn't even remember that it was Michelle Pfeiffer that was in the movie, but I knew there was like a woman in it, and I didn't know anything it was about. And then turns out I like this movie. It's one that ended up being sort of like Rear Window, sort of like a haunted house movie, sort of like a kind of like like mystery about cheating and dark past and a murder, and just like there's just a lot in the movie, but I think it all works together. There's some like iconic stuff I remember from like the trailer that Carrie was like, I've never seen the trailer, but I remember seeing the trailers all the time back in 2000, and seeing the whole, what was it? She's beginning to suspect something. Who? Your wife. And it's Michelle Pfeiffer that's saying it, and so you're like, wait, what's going on? It's almost like the Others that came out like the year after 2001, where it's like but I am your child kind of a deal, and you're just like, what are these like trailers that have all these cool hooks that you're just like, and turns out all those trailers with the cool hooks are the good movies, because I think What Lies Beneath is a good movie, and I just really like the mystery. I like seeing Michelle Pfeiffer kind of go on this journey of like trying to figure out what was going on and what was she seeing, was it real, and and a lot of like things like messing with her head, and she's being haunted, and she thought she saw her neighbor do something and confronts him, and it's really awkward, and then turns out that things are not what they seem. I think Carrie said that she saw the twist from a mile away, but it got me. Oh no, okay.
I'll talk about it. Not completely.
You saw it coming a little bit before it happened.
Yes.
And I was like, oh snap, when it happened. But I also kind of like, I was surprised, but also not surprised, because I knew that they were boiling to some sort of like cool twist. And I was just trying to figure out like what actually happened. And then what happened, I thought was really satisfying. Like, I think the acting, and it was pretty incredible from Pfeiffer and Ford. I think they're really great. All the imagery, I don't know, I just think it's so well directed. I loved there's like a sequence where Michelle Pfeiffer gets trapped in a bathtub filled with water.
Yes.
She was basically injected with a chemical that like paralyzes her, and she's just like sitting there almost drowning, and like the only thing she can move, I think, is like her foot or something,
her toe.
And she's got to like try to like drain this tub with the toe. And really my only kind of like, did they need to do this that happened was there was like an end kind of, and then they picked it up again with like it's almost like Scream, where it's like they always come back kind of a thing, and the actual killer pops up again, and then they have to go do another little thing section of the movie before it actually ends. But in that, and I guess I'll if you haven't seen this, it's really old now apparently. I guess I'm really old too. Oh shit. But I will say
I was 2 when this movie came out.
That's, God damn it, Hunter, shut up. Anyways, Harrison Ford, I was 10. Harrison Ford is the killer in the movie, and he tries to kill his wife. And the moment I did like, though, was when she tries to like connect to his humanity, and she's like, think about our daughter, kind of a thing. And so yeah, I like the connections in the movie, and I just think it was a really cool like mystery, and very well directed. And I don't know, I think a lot of people didn't like this movie when it came out, because it doesn't have like the
it's got a 49% on Rotten Tomatoes, if that tells you anything.
As if 50% means half liked it, half didn't. So there you go. But I'm in the half that liked it. So, Carrie, what'd you think about this one?
Yeah, I really like this movie. This was a really fun thriller, like supernatural type thriller. Kind of similar to you guys. I had like heard about this movie for a long time, but like had never gotten around to watching it. And it was really cool. Like, I thought the mystery was really good. I didn't see the twist coming from a mile away. I did see it like eventually. I was like, oh, it's probably her husband who, and this is like a woman that he killed. But at first I was kind of like, is it her? Like another, because you don't see her
Yeah,
face and stuff. And I was like, maybe it's her and
she's been
she's
a
like,
ghost. This whole is a Sixth Sense effect.
yeah,
Mm-hmm.
something like that. Yeah. But I thought Harrison Ford was really good because I thought it was like excellent casting because he is usually like the hero, the good guy. And so you are, and he's pretty, he's like a normal person, like average person in this movie. So you are like, I think another actor, maybe you would have been immediately been like something's weird with her own
Mm-hmm.
husband or something. But because it's Harrison Ford, you're like, no, I trust him. But I will say at the end when he kind of tricks her and he like makes the or tries to trick her. He makes a phone call to the police, but he didn't really call the police. I was like, there's no way he called the police. This man killed a woman over this. He's not gonna like just give up now. He's ready to murder again. But yeah, overall this was really great. This was just like a really fun mystery movie with like horror and ghosts and supernatural stuff. Really cool.
Oh yeah, I really like this movie as well.
Yes, we're all in the 50% that liked it.
I like,
Yeah.
yeah, I like this more than most people do, and for me, not being a fan of supernatural movies, I think this is a supernatural movie that does it correctly, where it's not about, oh, I'm gonna have this little creak in the house, and you're never gonna see me coming, but it's more of, hey, solve my murder because the murder is right in front of you. It's done in a murder mystery thriller sense, but with a supernatural overtone, which I think is a perfect balance because it also makes sense if ghosts are real, and I don't want to get into that conversation, but there would be a spirit in that house that'd be like, solve my murder, especially if the ghost knows you are with said killer. So it's like almost the poltergeist is protecting Michelle Pfeiffer's character by giving her all of these clues that this person is not what he says he is. And I love that thread of like throughout the entire movie, you're not quite sure what's going on because, as Carrie said, Harrison Ford is so likable. He's such a leading man, a hero that not once towards where it was revealed that I thought, oh, maybe he's the killer, and that's because they started talking about an affair, and I was like, that wasn't brought up before. So you have all these small little details leading up to the big reveal that I thought was really handled well. The acting is great as always. I will say you probably could slim or cut some of the neighbor stuff. I think that went on a little bit too long for my taste,
Red
especially
herring.
if the payoff is going to be, no, it was never her the entire time. I think you could do it at the beginning and maybe clear that up and then move on to another what the actual story was. I think the neighbor plot went on a little too long, but that's really just a nitpick in what I thought was a really good movie.
I will say though, I do think maybe like the way they chose to do it was kind of also like like the one punch twist before the next punch twist to like show
Hmm.
that how like kind of like crazy she starts to think that she is, and
And I also guess that helps with the believability of, is this her going crazy or is there actually something going on? So I guess I could see that staying in there, but I think you could trim it just a little bit where it feels more tight in a way.
yeah, I can see that. But I do agree with you that I think a lot of the sympathetic "I need help" style ghosts are the best. I mean, you have that
Hmm.
with the Sixth Sense has a lot of that, and then
Yeah.
also Devil's Backbone has a lot of
Hmm.
that too. So I agree with that. But we can move on, I guess, to the next movie, which is Through the Trees.
Yeah.
Jennifer's Body.
Yeah.
Who's on this one? Carrie.
Carrie.
Yeah, okay. I'll start with Jennifer's Body. Yeah, this is such another really fun movie. Another movie that was like kind of disliked when it came out by the general public, but now has like a big cult status. Because this is so fun. It's bonkers. It's off the wall, but at the same time, it's well acted, well directed. The script is great. The story is fantastic. Like, yeah, I mean, I don't know what else to say about this one. It's just like a good time. Like if you want to see like a fun, like kind of demony monster feature of like a high schooler played by Megan Fox killing boys, like, and Megan Fox is fantastic in this. Amanda Seyfried is fantastic in this. Like, yeah, and the music is great. Overall, just like so, it's still this movie's so funny and like of its time too, but in a really fun way. Yeah, this is a great one.
Yeah, so I absolutely love this movie. I will say the reason it was hated is because the marketing for this movie was atrocious.
Yeah.
They really led into the teenage boys come see this movie because two girls kiss
Right.
thing, and that's not what the movie's about. That's 1% of the scene, and that doesn't even tell the entire story. I love the story of Needy and Jennifer and their friendship, and Jennifer trying to get Needy to come out more, be more social, and even getting her boyfriend, things like that. Like, and then you have the Low Shoulder of it all, which I think Low Shoulder is a great name for a band, great song Through the Trees, but the idea of selling their soul to this demon for fame and wealth and success that we learn at the end of the movie, and they kind of prey on Jennifer, who then indeed preys on other people. So it's like talking about more of a control thing, where it's like the person who becomes controlled then controls other people. I like that as well. It's a really fun creature feature, as Carrie said. The movie's just fun. It's well acted as well. Amanda Seyfried and Megan Fox are really good, have great chemistry as well. And you have a young emo Kyle Gallner who has one of the best death scenes in this movie. I absolutely love that scene. It is hilarious and weird, and this movie is so rewatchable as well. It's not one that like is. I'm not gonna say take itself too seriously in a bad way, but it knows what movie it is, and it plays up the fun element of it that I love. It's a movie that's really rewatchable. Diablo Cody, who is the writer of this, also wrote Juno and Lisa Frankenstein. Really, really great writer when it comes to realistic dialogue between not only teenage girls, but just teenagers in general of the time. So I'm really excited to see what the sequel is going to be like, especially that her and the director, Karen Kusuma, are coming back to it. So, yeah, absolutely love this movie.
And I'm still here breathing now.
Yeah.
Sorry. I love how that song basically becomes like an anthem for the school.
The whole town starts singing it at one
Yeah.
point.
Or the town, and like it becomes like so overplayed that that Needy starts hating it.
Yeah.
But yeah, this movie, it's one of those things where this movie came out when I worked at a movie theater, but at the time I wasn't like, I mean, I wish I was, but I wasn't like huge into horror. I didn't really know much about like horror or stuff like that, so I just didn't really go see a lot of them. I saw like Sweeney Todd, but I that had a lot of Harry Potter actors in it. It was Tim Burton movie.
Yeah.
I wouldn't say it's like, there's not like a jump scare horror movie, and I just didn't. Jennifer's Body just didn't seem like a thing that I'd be into. And then it had such negative reception after that, so I never like checked it out. when I worked at Blockbuster or anything like that. Really showing my age here, but but I just never really got around to it for a long time, and then I had friends who were sitting there talking about like that's like one of the like best horror movies. That's like really really good, especially for like the type of movie that it is. It's just really good, and I would be like, "What, really?" And I just like I didn't get it, and then I watched it and I didn't get it, and then I was just like, "It was fine." And then I don't know, it was like the second watch, I think, that I was like, "Oh, I'm starting to get it." Okay, just like the vibe of the movie. Um, Starting to really like it. I think one of the big things is like I used to listen to Eli Roth's podcast. Carrie kind of got me into listening to that sometimes, and Megan
Heck
Fox
yeah.
was on it and was talking about stuff, and I just like hearing more about the movie. Just made me see it, I guess, in a different light. And now, yeah, I agree. I think it's like one of the most fun movies to watch. It's just kind of like it feels like the ultimate like high school movie, where I kind of wish I was more into it in high school, even though it like came out like right after I got out of high school anyways. I feel like, right? It was like right at the tail end.
Yeah,
Uh,
this was '09.
yeah, but if this had been like when I was like a freshman or something like that, that would have been really cool. Um,
Mhm.
but yeah, I really do like it a lot. I think all the stuff that it has to say about like social stuff in high school, and how sure you could be like the most attractive girl in school, but you still have problems, and it's kind of like a really interesting twist that they decide to kill someone because they think she's a virgin, and that's like the whole thing. Even like Hocus Pocus is kind of like that. It's like, hey, we need a virgin to light that candle. uh,
Mhm.
and then Needy's like, well, but she wasn't a virgin, kind of a deal. And then it goes sour on them, and it just the one scene when Needy finds out, and she's like in the kitchen like eating like chicken or whatever she's eating. She
Yeah.
throws up bile onto the floor. It's like the effects and everything are just so cool, and Megan's performance is just so good, and it makes me sad that like she got so typecast as like the attractive girl in movies, and like Transformers, as we mentioned. I didn't even realize that I'd be talking about Transformers again in the next movie. Two movies again, but her getting kind of like typecast in that role, and then kind of it being like flipped on its head a little bit in this. Like this movie just is more brilliant than I think people were ready to see at the time, and so
Mhm.
it makes sense that it would have more of a cult following now, and just be like a really fun movie. I mean, Kyle Gallner, like Hunter mentioned, is just like blowing up now. He's just like such a big horror actor now, and such a good
Mhm.
actor, that it's just really cool to go back and see him in this movie, and I just like him a lot, especially after watching The Passenger. Holy shit, he has such a good performance in that. Uh,
Strange Darling, I think, was one of
oh,
his best performances.
that's such a good movie,
So
and just yeah, even Amanda Seyfried I think is just so fun in this. I mean, she like fucking like sucker kicks that nurse lady.
yeah.
This poor lady, but like it's such a funny part. I had to rewind it and watch it again. Just so funny because she's like trying to help her, and then she's just like out of nowhere just kicks the shit out of her. And I don't know. Yeah, it's just like a really cool concept, cool story. Just the town kind of comes alive, and there's so many like cameos in it, like people that you're like, oh that guy, like Chris Pratt, J.K. Simmons, just people.
Bill Fagabaki, who voices Patrick Starr, has a really great monologue in that film. Or it might have been in the deleted
Does?
scenes. Yeah.
Oh, I don't remember that at all. Okay.
Have you seen the on the deleted scenes in the
Um,
extended version? He has this great line, this great monologue about his because his son is Kyle Gallner who got killed,
oh, okay.
and he's like, when I find these people, I will. What is it? He goes. I will rip off your nutsack and nail him to my door. He just goes off.
Yeah, and I don't remember that at all.
Yeah.
It's so funny because people have taken videos of Patrick being angry in SpongeBob and putting that voice, that monologue behind it, and it's so funny.
Nice. Yeah, and I don't know, it's just one that like I would recommend, I think, to like anyone like getting into horror and stuff, because I just think it's so well made, so well written. It's and as Hunter touched on, it's a very gruesome movie in a lot of ways too, but also very funny. Especially the one part when Jennifer flies, and then she's just hovering. It's not that cool. Why do you always have to undermine me?
I love that line because the boyfriend of Needy is so impressed, and she's just like, she's just hovering. It's not that big of a deal. Like,
Yeah.
no, like nonchalantly saying it.
Yeah, it's not that impressive. And her boyfriend is also young Neil in Scott Pilgrim, and he's
It
you didn't
is?
know that? Yeah, it's young
No,
Neil
I didn't. That's awesome.
from Scott Pilgrim, and then at the end of the movie he becomes Neil. Anyways, sorry, I love Scott Pilgrim and Edgar Wright, but yeah, I love this movie, so I think that's about it. We can go ahead and do our individual rankings now, because we talked about all the movies, and here we go, Hunter.
I will say this: people are going to hate my list.
Oh, I will say I'm pretty sure like all three of our lists are going to be very different, so I'm excited to see where everybody has this stuff. So Hunter, start with your 6 and go to your 1.
So yeah, everyone's gonna hate my list. So I'll start with number 6, which is Resident Evil, which I think that'll be across the board. Number 5 is Mary Shelley's Frankenstein. Number 4 is Beloved. Number 3 is What Lies Beneath. Number 2 is Urban Legend, and number 1 is Jennifer's Body.
Okay, I thought maybe you might have Urban Legend number 1. I'm glad you had a little bit of sense there.
Look, for this list in particular, I went for rewatchability.
Mm-hmm.
So
yeah. All right. So my number 6 is also Resident Evil, and this is where we start to differ, because my number 5 is Urban Legend. My number 4 is Mary Shelley's Frankenstein. My number 3 is Beloved. My number 2 is What Lies Beneath, and my number 1 is Jennifer's Body.
Okay.
Okay.
Not mad at it.
My number 6 is also Resident Evil. My number 5 is Frankenstein. My number 4 is Urban Legend. My number 3 is What Lies Beneath. No, oh, sorry. My number 3 is Urban Legend. No, wait, I already said Urban Legend. Sorry, I'm losing it. My number 3 is What Lies Beneath. My number 2 is Jennifer's Body, and my number 1 is Beloved.
Wow, that's right. I knew
Awesome.
Carrie gave Beloved 5 stars, so I was like, that's probably awesome. Number 1. But I was wondering if maybe Jennifer's Body would be unanimous at number 1. But yeah, that's so cool that Carrie loved Beloved. I'm glad I picked that movie for her.
Yeah.
So, Carrie, do we have an overall ranking yet?
In a couple minutes. Okay, so we had a tie. So I'm going to start at number 5. At number 5, Resident Evil. At number 4, Mary Shelley's Frankenstein. At number 3, Urban Legend. Tied for number 2, Beloved and What Lies Beneath. And at number 1, Jennifer's Body.
Hell yeah. Nice.
Okay. Love that overall ranking.
Yeah, that's solid, because I do think that like top 3 is a good top 3 to have. So that's really cool that 2 of them were tied. But I love that Jennifer's Body was kind of definitive, even though Carrie didn't have it as her number 1, but still like she had it at number 2, right? So yeah, boom. 10 take that, Rotten Tomatoes.
Yeah.
Film watching people at large.
My number 1 and number 2 have low Rotten Tomato scores.
Sometimes movies that are like right around like 50-60% can actually surprise you, and you go like, oh my god, this movie's actually good, why is it so low, kind of a deal. So that's fun when you run into a movie like that. So but we did it. We did the 90s and 2000s. We just have one more video. That one will probably be even longer because we gotta discuss stuff and then also do our overall ranking and everything. But you know, it's a fun time, and I'm excited to wrap this series up and get to new stuff because we're gonna start like prepping for the awards that we do, and hopefully we have enough time to do it and we can do it in a timely manner. But we can use some of.
I really want to get back to doing the
new
roundups
movie.
on the new movie roundups, because I think there are a ton of great movies that we haven't reviewed yet.
That's also been kind of frustrating me too. I meant to at the beginning of 2025 to try to get more of that stuff, ready, and then
it's so hard though.
It wasn't until like the middle of the year, I think, that I was like, maybe we can do this roundup thing that we did last Halloween, 4 new movies and stuff, and we just haven't gotten around to watching a lot of them. And then we started this, so it's just been, it's hard to do like a bunch of different projects at once, but we'll find a good rhythm. And I feel like we've been pretty timely with this, even though it's a little bit later. We've been getting our act together and getting this stuff done. So look forward to more, new movie reviews when we can, and the award stuff. And then also, 2026, we're trying to bring back, brackets. And, we had a very successful watch along that we did. We did a live watch along of Halloween.
For Halloween.
But the movie Halloween 1978, we watched it. I think it's the greatest horror movie ever made, and we all love it in different capacities. And it's one of those that is just so respected that we had to give it more respect, and not just review it, but film ourselves watching it and reviewing it. And I want to, I have plans of taking that and editing it into more of like a commentary style kind of thing. And we want to do more stuff like that. We want to do more. Hunter had kind of a semi-successful trivia thing that he did that we can
that was fun as well.
Make a little better. Maybe Carrie and I can help, and
make the questions not impossibly hard.
Sure, but yeah, kind of maybe do it more of like a seasonal thing, because you had a really great idea of doing Halloween style movies, and then we can do maybe a Christmas horror movies and stuff like that. So
yeah,
and we want
also like I had the idea, and I don't know if we're gonna do this or not. I'm just throwing it out in the ether, but Thanksgiving is this month, and we do have a horror movie based on Thanksgiving, so be a perfect watch along when we have time to do that as well. So there's so much stuff we can do with these new like series and formats that I'm super excited to get into.
Yeah, so we have a lot of ideas, and we're going to workshop them and try to get better at scheduling and get stuff out to you guys. So if you did watch this, thank you for watching. Make sure you go leave some comments for the different movies and stuff that I think it was just a really interesting slate of movies. And
give us your ranking in the comment as well.
Oh yeah, that's fun. And if there's nothing else, Hunter can go ahead and close it out.
All right, so if you guys did enjoy this, please hit that like button, subscribe to Welcome to Primetime, and remember, stay scared.